Yeah.
So it's like a lot of people are very close. They just need to actually map it out, draw it out. I just can't. I don't have the tolerance to do something I don't want to do. But my cure was always like, if I feel like an imposter, then just stop being an imposter and go on and actually do the thing that you say that you're doing. Like,
all right, guys, we are here with Ted Carr, founder of Contentpreneurs. We're going to be learning about building and scaling an online business and also just like hearing your story. I'm so excited for you guys to be able to hear from him. I've learned a ton just in the last month since I came across Ted online. I've just been like absorbing as much as I can about entrepreneurship, but specifically online and info products. So I would love to just hear how you got started. First of all, like, what was your introduction to entrepreneurship? What kind of catapulted you to even want to take a risk and kind of be your own boss? But then also diving into like logistics.
yeah, I still don't know to this day if people are born entrepreneurs or like if they have like a natural tendency to it, or if it's something that like nature kind of pushes them towards, like if it's that nature versus nurture thing. I don't know the answer to that yet. So I've always felt like an entrepreneur. Like I've always felt like I just want to make money in the easiest way possible that's enjoyable for me. And the idea of going to a job has always killed me. Like I've been fired twice. Like I'm a very terrible employee. And so ever since I was a young kid, I was just trying different stuff to make money. It just was so natural for me. Like, does this sell? Does this sell? Does this sell? Do you want to buy this? Do you want to buy that? Do you want to buy this? I've always sold stuff. From Pokemon cards to like Pogs, probably too young to know what those are, to like just stuff at garage sales, firecrackers, certain plants that people smoke. You know, I've like sold everything. Festival tickets, tickets to music concerts. Like I was always just selling stuff.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, if I can buy it at this price and sell it at that price, and the people I sell it to are happy, this is amazing.
Yeah. Did you know like where you wanted to end up? Like, did you know sort of the direction you were going, or was it just kind of like, let me figure out how to make money right now?
Let me figure out how to make money right now. The only time in my life, or I'll tell you the very first decision that like I ever made for myself, because up until that point, every decision I made was kind of just like going with the obvious flow and kind of doing what I saw other people doing. So if I saw other people selling, I would do it. If I saw other people getting a job, I would get a job. And I saw other people going to college, so I went to college. Like my dad told me to play soccer, so I played soccer. He told me to play basketball, so I played basketball. My mom told me to comb my hair that way, so I combed my hair that way. I just dressed the way I dressed because people told me to do that. So the first decision I ever made for myself was becoming vegetarian. And then like 2 weeks after that, the second decision I ever made for myself was dropping out of college to become a personal trainer. And so then I started getting clients for myself. And then like at that point, I was 18 years old. At that point, I was actually starting to like work for myself and get clients. And so my vision then was it's like the first time I ever casted a vision of my future. Up until age 18, I had no future vision that was clear. But when I was a personal trainer, I was like, I'm just going to make enough money by training clients so that I can afford my triathlon habit so that I can become a professional triathlete. My whole goal was to become a professional triathlete.
Wow.
That was it. I just wanted to swim, bike, and run every day, and I would be happy.
When did that change?
Well, I made it happen. I became a professional triathlete,
wow.
Then after racing for a year as a pro, I was like 27, I decided to quit and go all in on online business. Because I realized with triathlon, like all you're really doing is training all the time and racing just to beat other people. So if we were competitors, I would, for me to win, which obviously I want to win, that's why I'm in the sport, I would also need you to lose. In fact, I would also kind of want you to lose so that I could win.
Right.
But I didn't want you to lose. And I wanted to win. So there was like this conflict of like, in fact, I would win races and we'd be like, I'd be side by side with a person and I would like just pull ahead at the last second and I would win. And I'd feel really bad for the guy who just came second. Other races, I'd be racing side by side with somebody and they'd beat me at the last second and I'd feel pissed and kind of like a loser for losing, not winning. So either way, I was not winning. Either way, I felt bad. And I didn't like this idea of competition. I remember listening to a really good audiobook when I first started training for triathlon called The Case Against Competition by Alfie Kohn.
Interesting.
And he talks about how cooperation and teamwork and creativity is far more powerful and much more enjoyable than competition. Because in competition, Most people lose.
Yeah.
There's going to be one winner.
So is business kind of like a game that you see as a win-win?
Yeah. If done right.
Right. Yeah.
If done right, definitely.
Do you use
yeah,
like...
because the clients we help are winning, and then their clients are winning. Mm-hmm. So everybody wins.
Do you ever use like comparison or competition to like fuel your motivation?
Not competition, but our team uses a lot of like sports team analogies of like how to win as a team.
Yeah.
But when I say win as a team, it's not like winning as a team at the expense of another team. It's just winning as a team in terms of like, so in basketball, you get the ball in the net. That's a 2 points, or sometimes 1 point, or sometimes 3 points. For us, a win like that is getting a client testimonial. Like if we get testimonial, that's like, it's a big score. Somebody got a success. Another, ball in the net type of goal we'd have is making a sale, right? So we celebrate sales, we celebrate getting clients results. But because we have like this team mentality, we look at business almost like a sport in terms of like, let's build our team up. So we got a really good team, and we like look to see who's good, who can we bring on the team? Or maybe who's not performing as well as they should be. Maybe we should either train them to be better, or they got to leave, they got to get off the team. And then the other thing is, when we look at our business, our company as a team, we look at like, who's just the best in their position? Like, who's the best three-pointer? Who's the best slam dunker? Who's the best at layups? Who's the best at rebounding? Who's the best defenseman? And so we put people in our team in certain positions, and we just hope they just stay there. Like, just play defense, just play rebound, just play, like, stay on the three-point line, you know? And this allows us to really work as a team. So, like, if a client's having a problem, be like, boom, hand them to Yelena. Or if Yelena's struggling with something, she hits Benny up. Be like, Benny, can you help this client with this thing? Or if I have a lead who hits me up, I'm like, I've got a lead. I don't want to deal with a lead. That's not my position as a team member to deal with leads. So I send that lead to, let's say, Owen. Boom. And then Owen takes that lead, sends it to Dan. Dan sends that to, let's say, Aman, and Aman sends them to Yelena or, you know, Kuba or something. So it's like we're all working as a team to get clients and get clients results. So it's really, really cool. But like, we've learned how to work as a team by looking at professional sports teams.
I have a couple of questions I want to ask about like the team aspect. But first, like going back to your start in business as a personal trainer, I've noticed just like listening to a lot of people's stories that a lot of entrepreneurs start in like some kind of a service-based thing, a lot of times personal training, and then they start like just falling in love with business as its own thing. And so what was like that journey like where you know, moved from personal training to now what you're doing now, which is you're completely remote and you're completely online. How did that process look?
Well, I did all the training out of my parents' basement, which at the time I called my house. And then my parents got divorced, and then they had to sell the house. So then my house was no longer my house because I no longer had a house because my parents were selling it. So I'm like, I no longer can train clients in the basement. So I had to go online because I didn't have a place to train people. I didn't like the idea of like renting a space.
Right.
And so when my parents sold the house, I flew to Bali, and I was like, I need to make this work online because I have no other way of making income. So I made an ebook and made a website and put the ebook on the website, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Money's gonna come in now. And nothing happened. I was like, oh, this is not actually as easy as I thought it was gonna be. I literally thought you made a website, you make an ebook, you put the ebook on the website, and the website has a button that says like, buy the ebook, $14.99. No, it didn't work that way at all.
Did you like get traffic to that ebook, or did you just pivot?
I didn't even know that was a thing, getting traffic.
Yeah.
I literally thought you build a website and you build an ebook and you put the ebook on the website. I didn't know traffic. I didn't know about conversion. I didn't know about like any of that stuff, SEO. I just thought people would find the website, but going on Google and typing in raw food recipe book or something, it didn't work. And I didn't really learn about anything about business because I thought as an entrepreneur, I have to figure it out myself. And that was like my biggest mistake for years, thinking that if I was to learn from somebody, that would be cheating and it wouldn't really be entrepreneurship. It would just be like me copying someone else. And I thought you have to be an inventor and you have to invent things as an entrepreneur. But I didn't know you could just copy what works. That was not a concept that I was familiar with at all.
Yeah.
Until the point where I became so desperate and like so curious about how do people actually make it work that I started paying attention. And I went to a talk at a festival and some guy's like, I'm going to share with you the 5 things I sell online to make a lot of money as an influencer. I was like, oh, what's he selling? He's like, well, I sell affiliate products, I sell ebooks, I sell courses, I sell coaching programs, and we do like some freelance work. And like I wrote down everything that he sold, and then I was like, oh, I'm just gonna sell that because that's what he's selling. But then again, I didn't know how he was selling it. I just knew that he was selling that. But at least I knew, like, for sure, this is what he's selling.
Right.
And then I got super fortunate enough to actually go live with that guy, and he actually taught me how to actually sell those things using like funnels and giving away things for free, getting people off social media onto the website, and then upselling them later on like a higher ticket program. He introduced me to all that stuff. And prior to that, I had no idea. And then once I started doing that, things started to actually work. And I really felt like I had an advantage over everyone else because I now had this mentor who was teaching me how it actually all worked.
Yeah. I think that was like something I also felt like when I was getting started. Like I got started in entrepreneurship because I met people, but I felt like if I like followed any one person too closely, then whatever I offered wouldn't be unique enough to be, like successful. So I think a lot of new entrepreneurs like have to discover that, and some never do. Like I know a lot of people that are like halfway through life and through their career and they will not spend money on education. So like what's sort of your mindset on like making that investment and kind of like overcoming that mental block? Like, because I think a lot of people think that if it's something that's in your head, it's something you can figure out on your own. But a lot of times that just takes a lot longer, or you never get there without someone else's perspective.
Yeah, there's a great book. I forget the exact name of it. I believe it's called Steal Like an Artist.
Okay.
And it might be by a guy named Derek Sivers. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But Steal Like an Artist is probably what you Google and you find the book. Great book. And he talks about how, like, even if I was to try and copy you right now in this moment, I'd be like, okay, like she sits like this and like this and like lean forward a bit. Like, I would still have my own style to it. It would still be me.
Right.
And so even if I were to copy everything you do, like you have a podcast, you have a school community, you make YouTube videos, you do podcasts, you have curly hair, you have these mics, you sit in chair. Like, even if someone were to copy you to the best of their ability, very few people could even tell that they're trying to copy you, because it just looks like, everyone's their own unique snowflake.
Right.
It just looks like they're just also doing business. So that's a really cool understanding to realize, like, even if you try to copy someone, like look at cover songs. You take your favorite song on the radio and you go on YouTube, type, Celine Dion, My Heart Will Go On cover, and some dude singing it. It sounds completely different. Even if the melody is the same, the lyrics are the same, it's just the vibe is completely different. So cover songs are like a great example of, even if you copy somebody word for word, it's still going to be different.
Yeah.
So when it comes to business, though, I mean, if you try to succeed on your own, you don't have to pay for coaching. But you should definitely, if you want to speed things up, like if you're going to be smart about it, watch YouTube tutorials, and a lot of them. Like, anytime you want to learn video editing, what do? What's the first thing you do when you want to learn video editing?
Go search how to do it.
Yeah, but before you even search how to do it, you go and you download the software, right? Let's say you download Adobe Premiere or DaVinci Resolve, whatever. Okay, now you want to actually learn to video edit. You could just drag a bunch of files in there, drop it in there, and be like, okay, I'm going to edit this video now, and like try and figure it out. You could do that, and you could spend 20, 30 painstaking hours figuring out where to click to do the thing you want to do. Or you could spend 20 minutes watching YouTube videos and learn how to basically master the software in 20 minutes. You know, so that's like, when I want to learn something, I rarely try to figure it out on my own. Very rarely. I might poke around, but as soon as it starts to get kind of complicated, I'm like, I'm going to either Google this or hire somebody or just delegate it. Get someone on my team to take care of it. There's a great book called Who Not How. It's all about how like you don't need to really figure out how to do anything anymore. You can just find out the who's already done it, who's already doing it, and just either get them to do it or ask them how to do it.
Yeah. This might be like a dumb question, but I feel like a lot of people listen to podcasts, watch YouTube videos, even sign up for coaching programs and like don't get anywhere. So how do you actually properly learn from, like, if you're listening to a podcast or you're watching a video, like what's like your process for actually taking that information and then applying it?
You gotta apply it into something. A lot of people don't have that something to apply it into. So the first step is to ask yourself, what is my ideal day in the life? What does my ideal day in the life look like? And the reason I start with ideal day in the life is because a lot of people think about what their ideal life looks like. And a life is just a bunch of days. The word life is too broad, too general to even wrap our heads around, but we all know what a day looks like. We wake up, we eat, we work out, we do some work, we sleep, we do it again, right? We know what a day looks like. So if we know life is now a bunch of days, then we can assume that if we multiply a day out over 90 to 100 years, we have a life. Cool. Okay, so what does a perfect day look like? Once you know what your perfect day looks like, you may realize that, oh, there's actually a lot of painting involved. I actually love to paint. I want to become a full-time painter. And nothing else seems to be as important to me besides my children and my health. I want to be healthy, I want to have children, have a beautiful spouse, and I want to paint. Once you're clear on that, you might not even watch podcasts like this anymore. You're like, fuck Patrice's business podcast. I'm just going to go watch how to become a painter. And then you just binge painting podcasts and tutorials, and you hire a coach in painting, all this stuff. So that's the first step, is finding like, what is that something you want to implement into?
Yeah.
And the best, capsule for that is a perfect day in the life.
Yeah.
I wrote down my perfect day in the life so many times on paper. So many times. And now I'm living it. It's not that difficult. Once you write down your perfect day in the life on paper, you can... I do this with my clients all the time. I'm like, what's your perfect day in the life? And they tell me, and I'm like, and how is your life now compared to that? And they're like, well, it's pretty similar. Like, I'm already waking up. I'm already going to bed. That's 2 things done. It's like, well, what's in the middle there? Well, I already am eating really good fruit now that I think about it. I am doing a daily workout. I am spending some time with my kids. But I'd rather not have to go to the office, and I'd rather make YouTube videos. Okay, cool. So we just need to replace you going to the office with making YouTube videos. They're like, yeah. I'm like, and that would be a perfect day in life? They're like, yeah. I'm like, and if you had to do that every day for the rest of your life, you'd be happy? They're like, yeah. So it's like a lot of people are very close. They just need to actually map it out, draw it out.
Has it changed for you, like what that day in the life looks like since the first time you wrote it?
You rearrange some of the activities on it, but for the most part, no, because the fundamentals are still there. Like the fundamentals are, I want to wake up with energy. I want to hang out with friends. I want to eat really good food. I want to be creative. I want to feel fulfilled. I want to feel important. I want to feel like I'm doing something important. And I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to feel like I'm wasting my time. Even if I am wasting my time, I don't want to feel like I am.
Yeah.
So like if I like the odd time I play video games, like we might play some video games later today, right? I'm not going to feel like I'm wasting my time because I'm like, I'm finally letting myself play some video games, have some fun, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it's a very small period of my life. But even if I wanted to play a lot of video games, I wouldn't consider it a waste of time because I don't like wasting my time. I don't feel like I'm wasting my time. So these are just like fundamentals that I've had for the past decade. They haven't really changed.
Yeah.
I can't imagine my day in the life being that much different to how it is now, 30 years from now, although I might have some kids and I might have, a bigger family. But other than that, I just love what I do. Life can be very simple.
That's like really cool too, because I know like I've heard you talk about manifestation and just visualizing the life that you want a lot. So to hear that like you did that and it's been pretty consistent and now you're actually living that life is like really cool, because I think that's something a lot of people miss, is like the power of your thoughts and your spoken word and like just what you picture your life. For some people don't even like picture their life 5 years out. So I think there's like a lot of power behind that just goes like completely untapped.
Yeah, well, you don't even need to picture it 5 years out. You just need to ask yourself, what would be my perfect day in the life starting tomorrow? And what do I need to do to make my days look like that? Well, I should probably wake up an extra hour earlier. I should probably go to bed an hour earlier. I should probably throw out all those Doritos. You know, I should probably throw all that crap in the fridge and the garbage. I should probably maybe spend an extra couple $100 a month on some really good audiobooks or some good books, some good courses to educate myself. And then you realize, oh, that's pretty much it. Like if I just do that and spend 15 minutes a day making a YouTube video, I could make it happen.
Yeah. What do you see as like the first kind of steps or like catalyst to figuring out what it is that you want to do? Is it just a process of trial and error?
Yeah, just take pen to paper.
Yeah.
Let's take pen to paper. What is my perfect day in life? Like plan tomorrow today, but feel free to make it unrealistic, which is what would be absolutely ideal. And once you do that, you realize you're pretty close. And then what I'd suggest you do is write out who's already doing those things. If someone's already a full-time YouTuber, how did they do it? You can find thousands of people who are now full-time creators who were not once full-time creators. And you could just ask them. You could start a podcast, like I'm going to interview full-time creators, ask them how they became a full-time creator. And using your podcast as a way of getting free coaching. And then after you interview 500 of them, you pretty much have all the answers you could possibly need.
Yeah.
And by that point, you're probably already now a full-time creator yourself.
Yeah.
You've been so busy asking the question.
Yeah. What do you see as like the best way to kind of like figure out your niche? Like is that the same process, just like writing down?
It's whatever you're interested in. Whatever you're interested in. Like I believe like you are the niche.
Yeah. It's like the Joe Rogan, like he's interested in all these random things but put together.
Yeah, what's Joe Rogan's niche?
Doesn't have one.
No.
Aliens and health and fighting.
Elk.
I think that's powerful too. But like, so let's say you're a teenager, you're in high school, you're interested in a few different things. You don't really know exactly what you're good at because you're so young. What is like some ways that they can start to really like tangibly figure out what it is that they could monetize and like build a business
It's
around?
not about what you're good at. It's about what you're interested in. Because if you're interested in something, you're going to get good at it eventually. Especially you said you're a teenager. I'm assuming you did. Like, if you're a teenager, let's say, 16 years old? Let's just take that number. Okay, up until age, like, 13, up until age 12, you haven't really ever even thought much for yourself. You've just been told exactly what to think every day. Pretty much a sheep. No offense to 13-year-olds, but you're pretty much a sheep, probably. Maybe not. Most of you. So once you're 16, that means you've been thinking, hopefully, for yourself for maybe 3 years. I didn't start thinking for myself till I was 18, 19. Up until age 18, I was a complete sheep. I only started thinking for myself once I watched footage of a slaughterhouse. And I asked myself, I didn't even ask myself, I was just like, that's not right, I don't want to support that. And then I asked, like, who are some famous, successful people who are not eating red meat? I Googled that, and all these celebrities popped up. I'm like, well, they're rich, they're famous, they look super healthy. Some of them are super hot, like Pamela Anderson. I'm like, and she's vegetarian. It's good enough for them. It's good enough for me. And then I went to the gym and saw a personal trainer. I was like, I want to become a personal trainer. And I started thinking for myself, like, how do I actually want to live my life in a healthy, fit state? Because up until that point, I was just going with the default. So if it wasn't for the footage of the slaughterhouse, RIP all those animals, like, I'd probably still be a sheep. But I'm saying this because most people do not think for themselves at all. Age, 13, 14, 15, 16 years old, probably not. Like yesterday, I got caught. I very rarely get caught thinking like a sheep. I was at the airport yesterday, and I caught myself thinking like a sheep. I was, you get off the airport, and now it's time to go and switch planes, and sometimes you need to like go through customs again and like leave, go through security again. So I got off the plane and I'm following everyone because I'm a sheep. I'm leaving the plane, just go where everyone else goes, not really paying attention. People go up the escalator, yeah, okay, go up the escalator. Once you get to the top of the escalator, everyone goes right, so I go right because everyone's going right. And then at the end, there's like a dead end. And I turn around because someone else turned around. I'm like, oh, the sign says that way. So I'm like, Jesus. So I started going that way. But like, I was like, wow, I just got caught up in like reminding myself what it's like to be a sheep. I wasn't not thinking for myself. I was like, just follow everyone else. And that's how people go through life. They don't think for themselves at all. But then I saved myself. I went like black sheep mode. Don't even know if this is legal, if I can share this, but I'll say it anyway. My flight wasn't supposed to take off for like another 4 hours.
Okay.
But I saw a flight to Vegas was leaving in like 5 minutes. I'm like, I wonder if I can get on that flight. So I went up with my ticket, and everyone's getting the ticket scan, like, bam, bam, bam. Then I go up, it's like, get denied. And she's like, oh, your ticket got denied. And I'm like, that's weird. And knowing that, because my flight is supposed to leave for like 4 hours. And she's like, oh, let me try and fix this for you. Boom, 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 boom. And then she goes and prints off a new ticket for me. And she goes to scan that new ticket that she printed for me. And an error popped up again. It was like, oh, this person's already on the flight. And she's like, oh, that's weird. She's like, oh, just go on anyway and you'll find a seat. So I went on the flight. Sure enough, the seat with my new ticket, the seat is taken. Some lady's sitting there. And I was like, I think you have my seat. Knowing that it's her seat. And then the flight attendant comes and she's like, oh, sir, I can help you find another seat right here. Boom. So I sat down right there. Boom. So now I'm on a flight that I'm not supposed to be on because I went black sheep mode and I'm not going to think like everyone else. I'm going to try and like finesse my way on this flight that's not even for me. And that's why I got to Vegas like 4 hours earlier.
Wow. That's crazy. But I mean, airlines always overbook, so they're probably like expecting people to have tickets that are already taken and like.
Yeah, but I didn't know it was possible. I just tried it. Like, I'm going to try it. I didn't want to be just like, oh, I'll just wait. No, I'm not even going to try it because that's not my flight. I'm like, fuck, let's see what happens. What's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to say, sorry, sir, your flight. I thought they were going to kind of make fun of me of like, oh, haha, you got the wrong flight. It's not for another 4 hours. And I'd be, oh, damn, okay, I'll wait. In that case, I probably would have asked them, like, is it possible if I can get on this flight? But I just fucking went and did it anyway. Like the movie Catch Me If You Can, great film. Teaches you how to not think like a sheep. Oh, great, great film. So that would be my advice on how people can approach this, of just like, question everything. We were talking about, you know, some conspiracies, you know, a few minutes before this podcast came on. And it's like, most of these most conspiracies are not even conspiracies. They're just obvious facts that are not told by mainstream news. Other ones, sure, are conspiracies. Like, I'm not even going to start naming some of them, but some of them are legit dumb conspiracies. But a lot of them are just fact that we're not taught.
Yeah. And I love your approach because I know you've talked about how, like, if there's something you don't understand, like, you'll go and research both sides of it and, like, really learn why the other people think that way and then weigh both sides and decide, you know, what you believe. I think you mentioned that you researched, like, the carnivore diet and, like, compared that to, like, your diet. And I just thought that was, like, super interesting because, I mean, it's very logical, but most people don't even, like, bother listening to a side that they don't agree with.
No, they instantly, carnivore, bad because I'm vegan. It's like, well, I've been vegan for 14 years and I did a ton of research on the carnivore diet. I believe the earth is a globe, but I've done a ton of research on why it could be flat. You know, I once believed the moon landing, and then I did research on why it might be fake, and now I'm like, no, it probably is fake now. But I would happily believe that we did land on the moon if I'm presented with enough evidence to counter the evidence that I've seen otherwise. So it's like, I'm not closed-minded and being dogmatic with beliefs just for the sake of it. I'm happily open to adjusting my beliefs about things.
And I think that makes you, like, way more credible in what you believe also, because like for me, like, I had like this, I just assumed that, like, as a vegan, like, you would be against anything or anyone that, like, wasn't vegan. And so, like, hearing that, I was like, oh, like, for some reason, like, he seems like a lot more credible. Maybe I should, like, look into being a vegan now. And so it's like kind of had that, like, effect also of just, like, building your own credibility, even though, like, that was you researching another diet and, like, seeing the pros and, like, the cons of it. So I think that's, like, definitely something that's needed in this society, is just open-mindedness and critical thinking and the ability to take all the facts into consideration. Because a lot of times there's truth to both sides, and there's
Yeah, you know, school teaches you to behave in a certain way. They're like, here's what we say is true. I want you to memorize this. Come back on Friday and tell me what you've memorized about what I've told you. Cool? This is how you learn. And so you just like memorize all these facts that they've told you, and they haven't once told you to go and try and find a counter argument for any of these points. You know? And Daniel, who you've already interviewed, his teachers would tell his class stuff, and Daniel would be like, that's not true. His teachers would get pissed because he's the only kid countering what they're lying about. You know? Like, there's so much you're taught in school. It's complete, like the food pyramid. Mm-hmm. How is gluten a food group? That is absurd. How is cow titty juice a part of the food group? Like, what? How's that a food group?
Yeah.
Like, what? It's crazy. So, like, even if you can't like question what they do. Otherwise, they think you're crazy. But
do you think there's a conspiracy within like the school lunches that they like prescribe to children as like the ideal diet? Do you think there's some kind of a...
Well, there's big money in medication. Mm-hmm. Big money, big pharma, right? And most people are sick mostly because of their diet. Mm-hmm. When you clean up your diet, for the most part, most of your health issues go away. And so big pharma doesn't like that. So big pharma wants you on the dairy. They want you on the gluten. They want like treats to be part of your snacks as well. Have some treats, have some garbage. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's big money in people being sick. But school is designed to, and like people often say like, I can't believe they didn't teach me that in school. It's like, I believe they didn't teach you that in school because you're not supposed to raise you to be a critical thinker in school. School's not designed for that. School's not designed to turn you into an entrepreneur. School's not designed to turn you into a billionaire. School's designed to turn you into a poor factory worker. Mm-hmm. That's why it's so similar to factory workers. It's Monday to Friday. It's 9 to 5. You line up. You walk in when the bell rings. You walk out when the bell rings. You're asked to go to the bathroom.
Are you familiar with the Prussian school system?
What's it called?
Like the Prussians. So in like the early 19th century, when like the Industrial Revolution was starting, America modeled our school system after the Prussian school system. And in Prussia, they built their school system at the beginning of a war, and it was designed to produce soldiers. And so America took that and adapted it for the Industrial Revolution to produce employees. And they basically took it, like the exact model, and just applied it here to produce factory workers. So
the best students I found make the best employees. Mm-hmm. Like the best modern day school students. Like the straight A students, I would love to hire as employees. Mm-hmm. Love to hire them. They'd be great. Like if you're a straight A student watching this, I'd probably happily hire you. Mm-hmm. They make for great employees. The ones who are not so good at school are really good at commission-based jobs. Mm-hmm. Because they're the ones who can't sit still in the class and they're going around. Like, dude, if you got that much energy and you can't focus on what your teacher's saying, go and do your own thing and make some commission.
Yeah.
But if you're okay with just sitting there studying and like doing exactly what you're told, you'd be really good at getting an hourly rate or a salary.
Yeah. It's funny.
Perfect.
I was straight A, and I had like 4.0 all through high school and college, but I absolutely like hated my life. Like I would spend like my lunch breaks in the nurse's office. I would skip class to go to the nurse's office. But at home I could work so well.
Let me rephrase that. If you enjoy being a straight A student, then you probably make for a great employee.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're a straight A student and you hate it, then that means you have a very high tolerance for doing shit that you don't necessarily enjoy.
Yeah.
Which can be helpful, but it can also eat your soul away.
Yeah.
And make you die at a young age because you're just like, you're killing your soul.
Yeah.
I have a very low tolerance for doing anything I don't want to do. Mm-hmm. That's why today when we went to the gym, this lady was like, oh, you got to wait 20 minutes for me to fill out your papers. And I'm like, there's no way I'm waiting 20 minutes for you to fill out my papers. And I just went up to the gym and started working out anyway. Mm-hmm. Like, I just can't, I don't have the tolerance to do something I don't want to do. I go crazy. Mm-hmm. Even waiting at the airport, I'm like, oh, why would I wait 4 hours when I could just go on now? Like, but some people have the tolerance. They're like, oh, I don't want to do this, but I'll do it anyway because they have the tolerance for it, and that's cool. But I don't have that.
Well, I think you also like value your time a lot more than most people value their time. So that's probably a big factor.
That's true. Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess yeah. Some people, they don't mind. Clearly, the guy beside me on the plane. I was on the plane the whole time, just like watching interviews of like Alex Hormozi and podcasts of Hormozi, and just learning the whole flight. I got like so much smarter by the end of the flight. Guy beside me was playing Mario Kart for like the whole flight, just Mario Kart racing. Mm-hmm. I was like, wow, I've learned so much in these hours, and he's playing the exact same game. And I'm looking over at him. He's playing like the same course, and he's just getting better at the same course. Well, maybe he's a professional gamer. In that case, cool. Yep. Crush it. But I think most people, when they're not at work, they're in relief. They're experiencing the relief of no longer being at work. So to them, it's not wasting time. To them, it's like, I'm not at work. Let's put on some TV. Let's eat some Doritos. Mm-hmm. Let's chill. Let's enjoy life. Come on. What are you doing working, Patrice? Just chill. Have a cigar. Yeah. Like, relax. Eat some garbage and let's watch this movie. Mm-hmm. So it's not wasting time. They're like relaxing. Yeah. They're having that relaxation time. But if you're an entrepreneur, you love what you do, relaxation can cause stress. Yeah. You don't want to do something.
Literally, I went to Florida like a month ago, and I was there for a podcast. The podcast was just the one day, and then I was going to go visit my friend for the next 2 days. And like the first day was great. I got my podcast done. I was super productive. And the next 2 days were absolutely horrible because I was just like going crazy thinking about all the things I could be doing if I was at home. But yeah, I think that like, it's like I can have things that I enjoy that are like relaxing if I feel like I've earned it. So it's like that balance of like, if I'm like, okay, I want to go surf this morning or whatever, I'm going to get up early or I'm going to stay up late and I'm going to get this amount of work done, then I can go and I can like enjoy that. But I can't just go and do that and be like, this in and of itself is going to be enjoyable. Mm-hmm. Like it has to be earned, and there has to be like a prerequisite of like what I'm going to get done first.
How do you know if you earned it?
Well, I mean, it's about whatever goal I set before. And then, I mean, if I don't earn it, I won't go. If I don't feel like I have accomplished whatever it was that I was going to accomplish in that time frame that I'm going to be going and surfing now, like whatever I would have done in that 2-hour period or whatever, if I don't do that in another 2-hour period, just more efficiently or however I do it, then that 2 hours just feels like it was wasted. So it's just like whatever I would have gotten done while I'm now relaxing, I get done before. And then I can actually relax. But yeah, it's like, it's funny because I think people try to like impose their ideas of like fun or relaxing onto other people.
Oh yeah.
So they'll be like, oh, take a break. You're burning the candle at both ends or do this or that. And I'm like,
yep. Don't you do anything fun?
Yeah, I heard that.
My work is super fun.
Yeah. Was it always like that? Or was there like a point where you were building your business and it was just like grind?
Interesting question. I think back, was there ever a point where I was like grinding and not having fun? I don't think so. You know why? Because anytime it wasn't fun, I was starting to think and imagine and fantasize and therefore feel really good about the day that this would be delegated ASAP. Mm-hmm. How am I going to delegate this? So as I'm hating it, I'm like, well, I know it's coming to an end soon, so I'm going to miss this. Mm-hmm. This, like, when suffering is going to come to an end, you actually can enjoy it in, like, a really interesting way. Like, I was on the treadmill this morning going super hard, and there was a minute left. But when there was 5 minutes left, I was like, fuck, this is really tough. I want to quit. When there was a minute left, I was like, oh, it's going to end soon. Mm-hmm. Aw, like, see ya. Like, you're just going to miss it. Mm-hmm. So anytime in business I'm doing something I hate, I'm like, I'm soon no longer going to experience this anymore. I'm going to be delegating it. Someone else is going to be doing this. Yeah. So not really, no. I never went through long grind periods ever.
Super interesting. I feel like just in listening to podcasts and learning from other entrepreneurs about like their story, always like there's this trend of them like looking back at the times when they were just getting started and they were working crazy hours or whatever to build their foundation. And they're like, those were actually the best times. I didn't realize it. And so I've kind of like adopted that mindset into now. And whenever I feel like I'm like, I don't know if it's going to work or I don't know what I'm doing, I'm like, that's going to be like the time that I look back on, I'm like, remember those days? Like that was the best of times. Like when I just like had no idea. Because if you knew it was going to work and you knew it was all going to end perfectly and you knew exactly how it was going to fall into place, there would be like no point in even doing it, because there'd be nothing to bet on, nothing to hope for.
I was talking to Benny about this yesterday, and I was thinking, when I first got started, like when I first got started, I hadn't made any money yet. I would see all these people making this money, and it was always a perspective of like, they can do it, but I don't know if I can do it. Don't know if it's actually for me, but it's super crazy that they're doing these numbers. But it's not really for me. It's like them. And then at some point, I guess it's just through like proximity or just through studying them so much, that I started to think like them. If you watch somebody enough, you start to think like them. You start to perceive the world like them. And you start to feel like they feel about certain things. And so therefore you start to act like they act. And you start to get results like they would get results. So that's what happened. I just studied all these people who were like above me. I studied them for so long that their thoughts became my thoughts, their feelings became my feelings, their actions became my actions, their results became my results. But there definitely was a time where I was like, wow, like they're way up here. And I'm looking back at that time now. It doesn't even feel like it was that long ago. But it's crazy how you can have that identity shift. And that's what it is. It is an identity shift. Because if you're not making any money right now, you don't have the thing you want. You now have the identity of the person who's not making much money. It's like you identify. And I had to like create a new identity, and it felt awkward at times for sure. Like there's that, what's that thing people call, they're like, they have that syndrome. Not shiny object syndrome, imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Imposter syndrome. And so what I found is like, yeah, there was times where I understand people saying that they have imposter syndrome, but my cure was always like, if I feel like an imposter, then just stop being an imposter and go on and actually do the thing that you say that you're doing. Like if you feel like an imposter as a coach, go and coach somebody for free. And then you can say, oh, I've helped so-and-so with this thing, therefore I'm no longer an imposter. But yeah, I definitely can think back of the time when I did not think it was going to work for me.
Was there like a mental hurdle you had to overcome when you started, like, because you give away all of your stuff for free, all of your course materials? Was that like a difficult thing? Because a lot of people like still today charge for all.
Yeah, my biggest concern with that was actually not. My biggest concern wasn't if I give it away for free, no one's going to pay me. My biggest concern was if I give it away for free now, the people who already paid me are going to be pissed. That was my concern.
Were they?
No. They didn't care. They probably didn't even know I gave it away for free.
Right, yeah.
But, understandably so. Like, let's say I pay $3,000 for a course, and then the next day the dude gives that course away for free. I'd be pissed.
Yeah.
So what I did was I let 6 months or so go by before I ever released that stuff to the public. So like there was like this delay period where it wasn't like, oh, Patrice signed up today and next day it's all free. I didn't do that. I made sure there was like a long period waiting time. But I also remember the day that I had the insight of like, wow, it truly doesn't matter how much good shit I give away for free. It's not going to affect my business in the negative way at all. Because I was at this funnel hacking live conference for ClickFunnels in Nashville. And I was in the audience, and there was like 10 millionaires on stage throughout the 3 days, and they were teaching like how to make $1 million online, and they were teaching all their best secrets. And there was 5,000 people in the room, and all of us were taking notes, like we all getting the same information. And I knew that like out of all these 5,000 people in the room, there's maybe gonna be like 100 of us at the most who actually go and like implement and like get some crazy results. Everyone else is just gonna like not even open their notebook ever again or do nothing with it. And so like it truly doesn't matter how much you give away for free, because there's always gonna be people who keep coming back for more. And it makes you like, when I was watching these people give away their best information, my thought was like, oh, if they give this away for free, and they've shifted my perspective on a lot of things already, just in this free 45-minute hour talk they gave. Like, what would happen if I worked with them? How much more could I learn? It's very rare that you find someone who opens your mind in a big way in a short period of time, but then does not continue to do so thereafter. It's very rare. If someone can open your mind in a big way in a short period of time, chances are they're going to continue to open your mind in a big way as time goes on.
Yeah.
But it's easy to think also, I guess, like, oh, I've already learned enough from this person, like, who's next? But no, the truth is that I found, like, if I just keep studying one person, keep studying, it's never ending. I'm like, whoa, I can keep learning so much from this person.
Right. That's powerful, just getting into that environment too, of like where you're able to have conversations and like get that like personalized feedback from somebody. That you can learn a lot from a podcast, but to get that feedback that applies directly to your situation, I think is like really powerful.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. That's another way of justifying giving away free stuff, is because like, if you have the business model like we have, which is like give away the info for free and then sell the implementation, that's a dope business model, because now you have infinite amount of info to give away. Infinite. Like my mom's like, Taylor, aren't you worried you're gonna run out of ideas? She's like, when you're like 50, you're not gonna have any more anything else to share. I'm like, Mom, it's the opposite. Absolutely infinite amount of resources to give, and new ones keep coming up. And what's cool is like, it comes back kind of full circle to when I first started business, it was a service, right? Offering personal training. And now to this day, we offer a service, because it's very hard for me to justify charging for information. So like, here's the info for free. If you want our service, we charge for that.
Yeah.
The same way, I would love to teach you how to paint your house, but if you want us to come paint your house for you, we'll happily take care of all of it for you.
Yeah.
For just, small fee or whatever it is.
And that would probably be actually like a really good selling business, because I worked for a painting company, and if you just went through all the things they would have to do and you give them every piece of information, they'd be so overwhelmed at the end of it. Exactly. They'd be like, I don't even want to do it anymore. Anything,
I recommend, if anyone wants to create a service-based business, teach somebody exactly how to do it for free. Even if you're teaching like how to do magic tricks, like teach how to do magic tricks for free. And then if somebody wants to learn magic with you in person, maybe some of you like super advanced ninja stuff that like you can't share online because it's too complicated, then yeah, share it in person, implement in person.
Yeah, that's awesome. Final question. If they're just getting started, let's say, you're in high school or college and you're just starting to pursue entrepreneurship, what is like the one skill that they should focus on building first?
Listening to what excites you, paying attention to what excites you. Because if someone says like, oh, you should learn this or you should learn that, but it doesn't excite them, then don't do it. Right. Like, I only pursue what excites me. And it's a skill I've developed. I didn't know it was a thing, but it is a thing. You can hone this. You can hone your own perception of your own excitement. One of the easiest ways to do it, by the way, is to do a dopamine fast, which no one's going to do, so I'll just say it anyway. It's like the best hack ever. Guarantee you get ahead in life if you do this. But you, no phone, no internet, ideally no food for a few days even. Just pen and paper and your thoughts, and you're just in a house alone writing your ideas. What that does is you become so bored. Like, this would be fun, like just like flicking, like, oh, yeah, like a plant, like you just stare at the painting, like, wow, painting. Yeah. I should paint. Like, you're just so bored. Anything, like, I remember just staring at bugs and be like, wow, bug, like, bug's my friend right now. Like, I've got nothing else. Yeah. But what it does is it trains you to then be very aware. You develop an acute sense. That's the word. You develop an acute sense for what excites you. And so you're writing all these ideas down, and you might write down like, oh, I'll do a podcast, do a webinar, I'll do an ebook, do a course, and you write down, oh, what if I offered like a service where I just did it all for them? That'd be amazing. Whoa, I could do this and this all for them. And you get excited. Because there's nothing to distract you, and you're so bored.
Yeah.
You know, so like just thoughts and ideas excite you.
Yeah.
Because you have to write something down to excite you, otherwise you go insane.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to come up with really good ideas that are actually exciting, and they're so exciting that you actually implement on them. But very few people have that acute sense of what excites them, because we wake up, we check TikTok, haha, funny dog, cute dog. We go on Instagram, oh wow, nice six pack. We go on YouTube, oh I should start a non-for-profit, dog sanctuary because this cool vlog lady did it. Like we're so distracted, so inundated with that, and that's just the stuff that like pops up at us through social media. But then we also got our parents telling us stuff, and our friends telling us stuff, and stuff on the news, like, oh, like AI is coming, AI is going to take away your job, and there's no point in being a musician anymore because you can just press a button and music gets created. All these thoughts come in your head. You compare those scattered thoughts, you probably think of like 400 different topics a day when you're on the computer, on the phone.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're doing a dopamine fast, you might think of like 10 to 20 topics a day. It's very honed.
That would be so cool if you did like a 4-day retreat or something where people just came and there was like internet.
But even
no
people are
devices,
distractions.
no
Yeah, you
food.
can't even talk to other people.
Yeah.
If other people were there, okay,
Just
cool, but just
complete isolation.
no talking. Yeah, yeah, it's super powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Very few people do it, but that's how I launched this current business. I was so bored, and then I was like, why don't I do a webinar? I could do a webinar. I could tell my story, and I could sell this program teaching other people how I made $2,500 a month, and they would love that because I've bought programs like that in the past, so I already know it sells, like from personal experience. I could teach them how to do affiliates and courses and ebooks, and this would be so amazing. And I was like mapping it all. I was so excited. I was like, I want the dopamine fast to be over. Like today, I want to get back on the internet. I was jonesing to get back on the internet so I could launch this. I didn't care about getting back on the internet so I could check Instagram.
Right.
I wanted to launch that program. I was so excited. If it wasn't for the dopamine fast, I would have just kept scrolling, typing around, like just browsing, clicking, doing dumb shit. So that's the ultimate hack.
That's the
Get
secret.
clear.
Yeah.
Get clear and
The
develop.
1% of people that actually implement that.
Oh yeah, it's a game changer.
That'll be huge.
Yeah.
Well, I have to do it now, so that sounds extremely difficult in this day and age. I would imagine like a day in or so, then it gets easier. But
Yeah, my tip for it is you gotta let everybody in your life know.
holds you accountable.
Well, not just that, but like, so they're like, is Patrice dead?
Oh yeah,
Like, just
true.
let them know.
There's no contact.
So I'd actually recommend, because I've done it like maybe 4 or 5 times now, and it pain in the ass on like 4th, 5th time. I gotta let everyone in my family know, I let all my friends know, let all my team members know. So now I have like an email list called Dopamine Fast
No way.
Awareness, and I can send out an email to just that list and be like, hey guys, on these dates I'm gonna be offline. Don't try and contact me. Phone's gonna be off. Internet's gonna be off. I'll be at home if you absolutely need me, but please don't come and knock unless it's an absolute emergency. See you on the 25th. Boom. I like to do it between Christmas and New Year's too, because that's the one time you can justify taking off.
Right, yeah. It's like a very quiet period. There's no expectations.
Christmas, yeah, you celebrate Christmas with your family on the 25th. Cool. 26th, I'm out. 27th, I'm out. 28th, I'm out. 29th, I'm out. 30th, I'm out. New Year's, I can come back to life.
Yeah.
So it's a cool period to do it in.
It's a great way to bring in the new year too.
And that.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing your time so generously. I mean, I learned a ton, so I know they learned a ton. And yeah, just go and implement on that stuff, because that's like the 1% of people that actually take action on that will be extremely successful.
You have the highest likelihood of success if you do that, yes. No guarantees. No guarantees, but you have the highest likelihood of success.
Yes.
That's as close to a guarantee as you're going to get.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Phenomenal. That was like probably way longer than a half hour, but thank you.